Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look here, y'all. Welcome back to the third season of Fooled by the Game. In the third episode of Chop Shop, Reggie and Leon are both secretly plotting to take each other down. But, Reggie, he finds himself between a rock and a hard place because in the last 2 months, he's been arrested twice by Metro for drug possession and distribution. Got caught with about 400,000 cash. It's not looking good for him. And now his benefactors, the people that are behind him, are starting to get worried that, he's not the guy that they need to continue to run the operation because he's bringing more heat than he's bringing in profits. And they just don't want that, right? So I'm going to let you know what's really going on with all of that in this episode. There's a lot to talk about, y'all, so let's just get to it. This is episode 4 of Chop Shop, and it's called In the Game, Nothing is What It Seems. Check it out. Brian and Leon, they're trying to figure out a way to get out from under Reggie's thumb, right? They've got this second shop open. They're making good money, but they know that this thing cannot last forever the way they're running it. They don't want anything to do with Reggie anymore. But, again, it is what it is. They made a deal with the devil. Now, Reggie, on the other hand, he can't be trusted at all. Because he's making sure that when it goes down, and any dope man knows, anybody that's been in the game for any amount of time knows that eventually it's going to end. And when it ends, you better have an exit plan. And his exit plan is to put everything off on them, put them off as the kingpins, so he can walk away with some kind of deal and go on and ride off into the sunset like he's just, that dude, right? But here's the thing. Check this out. Nobody really knows how extensive Reggie's operation is. He's got 2 shops that he's doing through Brian and Leon. He's running his money through. But he's got businesses all throughout other counties and in the city that he's laundering his money through. Nobody really knows how extensive his operation is. And plus, nobody knows really who his benefactors are. How did he get this high up in the game without being harassed by the police? Well, the truth of the matter is he had lawyers behind him. And I'm not talking about lawyers on the payroll to go to court and fight for him. I'm talking about he had lawyers behind him that were financing the operation. The higher up he went into this thing, he started to realize that none of this stuff can be possible without a nod and a wink from the people that really control the streets. And I'm not talking about the drug dealers and the gang members. You understand what I'm saying to you? So here's the thing. Reggie gets popped twice in the last couple of months. Brian and Leon have no clue that this is going on because that's not their world. And plus, they live in a totally separate county away from Reggie. So they don't know what kind of trouble he's having. But it's a twist in the game. It's a twist in the game. Normally, Reggie would drop the money off at the bus station at the locker. And then they go in, Brian and Leon, they would go and they pick up the money and then they leave. They don't even have to see each other or meet each other, right? But Reggie, because of all the heat that he's attracted by getting busted, he has to bring somebody else into the equation and change up things just a little bit because he doesn't want this part of his operation to get shut down because he's still intending to do something slick. And now his urgency is picking up because he's got court cases, okay? So he brings in this girl that he's been messing with for a while, but here's the kicker about her. Her name is Lori. And Lori is married to a detective on the force in one of the towns that Reggie has his major money laundering operation. She sees him, she likes him, all this and that, and next thing you know, he meets her at a bar. When she's out with her friends, he buys drinks, send them to him. And then she finds herself just going down to the end of the bar to thank him. And she ended up spending the rest of the night at the bar talking to him. Impressed by the way he presented himself. He dressed the part. He talked the part. She just didn't know the truth about him until she had started to fall for him. And now Reggie, always being the chess player, You know what I'm saying? He saw a way that he could fit her into his empire and use her later on down the line because why? She's married to a cop. So anyway, he brings Lori into the game, right? He uses her to drop off the packs, but he don't want to just drop them off at the bus station anymore. He wants her to take them all the way to Brian and Leon. So he talks to Brian and Leon about, look, we're going to change up. He's not really asking, he's telling. You know what I'm saying? But he wants to present it in a way to where it seems like everybody's in agreement and this is the best thing, it's the safest thing. But he doesn't want to tell them that he's been busted. He don't want to tell them the real reason why he wants to do it this way. So anyway, he takes her with him on a trip. And they ride down to where Brian and Leon are at the first shop. Because they didn't frequent the second shop a lot. You know what I'm saying? They ran that from a distance. You know what I'm saying? They had a good management team. So he takes her down there and he introduces her to them as his woman. They have no idea that she is married to an officer, you know? But she's cool. She's not talking. She's not telling him anything. You know what I'm saying? But over time, she starts to develop an eye for Leon. Brian is married faithfully. You know, his wife, Reese, he doesn't mess around. He's doing his thing with her. They enjoy life. Leon, on the other hand, he's not committed. He's not in a committed relationship because he's always been about the business. If he gets in the mood to want to spend some time with somebody, he goes to find an old female friend of his, and then he does what he does and gets on down. But now, all of a sudden, Lori, when Reggie's not looking, she's looking at him. What is going on? She likes it like that. She must have a taste for the bad guys. But she doesn't really realize that Leon is really not a bad guy. He's in an unfortunate situation, him and Brian, but still. Let's let this story play out. So she's spending time with Leon when Reggie's not available. You feel what I'm saying? And her husband is always out trying to bust and arrest somebody, so he's not paying attention to her anyway. So she starts to run her mouth. You know, pillow talk is, you know what I'm saying, that's the best talk. She starts to run her mouth and tell Leon things that him and Brian never knew. She tells him that Reggie has been arrested twice. She tells him why he changed up the pattern of the money dropped off that they've been doing for the longest now. She starts to tell him everything about herself, trying to be, you know, she wants to confide in him, trying to be honest with him. Ain't that something, though? Somebody's cheating on their husband that wants to be honest with the guy that she's having an affair with. Wow. The second guy, anyway. You know what I'm saying? She likes it like that. So she tells him that she's married to a detective on the force in a neighboring county, neighboring city. Now, he plays his role. He doesn't get spooked, but he's writing all of this down when she's not around. He's making sure he's trying to figure out how is this going to fit into my game plan. Because at the end of the day, he's only concerned about him and Brian and their family. Nobody else. But what he learns is that Reggie is a ticking time bomb. Now, Lori didn't know that Reggie was setting everybody up for the fall when the time came for him, you know what I'm saying, to have to pay the piper. But when she's spending time with Reggie, Reggie starts to open up about it's not looking good for him. His benefactors, these big-time lawyers, are saying to him that he needs to be prepared to go to prison. And he doesn't want to hear that. Under no way, shape, or form does he want to hear that. So anyway, he has to make this court appearance. And when he makes this court appearance, and something happened with his bond. So the lawyer said, look, okay, you can't be trusted. Either we're going to put you in jail pending your trial, or you're going to wear this ankle monitor. So he had to agree to wear the ankle monitor, or he would have been taken off the streets. So now he's getting super paranoid. And he doesn't even really trust Laura to drop the stuff off to Brian and Leon. So now he does something totally out of character. He invites Brian and Leon to his house. Brian can't go. He's too busy running the shop, and he had to go to the second shop. So Leon takes that drive. And he's really spooked about it because he's like, this is not how we do things. And I never agreed to this, but he goes anyway. He takes that long ride to Reggie's house. And when he gets there, he sees Lori. And he also sees these two lawyers. At the time, keep it real, he didn't know that they were lawyers, but he sees these two men, and a lot of things are going on. Reggie's running in and out of the back room. He's kind of trying to play it cool, but Leon can tell that he's paranoid about something. And they keep on having these sidebar conversations, and they're talking to him, this and that, and he keeps telling Leon, hold up, I got you. Leon just wants to make this change, pick up the money and leave. But he keeps him sticking around. And so while Reggie is in the back with one of the lawyers, the other lawyer is sitting in the room with Leon. And they have a very, very interesting conversation. The lawyer thought nobody was listening. But Reggie was within earshot of what that lawyer was saying to Leon. And he told Leon, he said, look, we're going to have somebody to take Reggie's place when he goes to prison. Now, this throws Reggie for a loop. But he doesn't say anything. He plays it cool. But now he's sitting here thinking, man, it's over. If they start to make plans like this, I'm going to jail. They're making plans to wash their hands of Reggie. And he knows it. So in his mind, a twisted mind at that, now let's keep it real, he's thinking through a filter of fear, nefarious intent, and all of that. So in his mind, the most obvious solution that occurs to him is to take Leon out of the equation. That way the lawyers will have to continue to fight for him to keep him out so they can continue to make their money in the dope game from a distance. It's getting thick. But here's the thing. Reggie, because of all of the stress that's being put on him, he talks too much now. Now, he has no idea that Lori has been sneaking and sleeping with Leon. No idea. So while they're spending time together, he tells her his plans to kill Leon. And why? Specifically because he's saying that he told her, I overheard my friend talking to him about taking my place. If I get rid of him, they got to keep on fighting and do whatever it takes to keep me out here. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't tell him no, yes, or whatever. She just lays there soaking up everything that he's saying. But she had started to develop feelings for Leon. So the very next opportunity that she had, she told Leon, look, he's planning to kill you. Be careful. She said, I don't know when, I don't know how, but be careful. Okay? So here's the plot. Here's Reggie with himself trying to be slick. He knows that Laura is married to a detective, and they have pistols all around the house. This is where it gets thick, y'all. They have pistols all around the house. So he tells her to get him one of those pistols so he can use it. Right? So he has the pistol in the car. So when he gets that pistol in the car, he does not realize that Lori has told Leon what's up. So the next time that Reggie wants Leon to come to the house, that's when it's going to go down. But Lori told Leon. So when Leon makes the trip, he doesn't tell Brian what's going on. He don't want anybody to know in case it goes south. But his intentions is to get Reggie before Reggie gets him. Because he's thinking in his twisted way now, because the game has pulled him in, that this is their way out. Get rid of him. And then we can break free from the lawyers and everybody. That's what he thinks. But that's what happens when you're in the game. Your mind plays tricks on you. It'll fool you into believing that a solution that is only going to dig a hole is the best solution for you. No. Don't believe the hype. But anyway, he makes the trip down. And here's the thing. Lori, with all the guns she got, she gives him a gun. Now, both of these guns belong to her husband, which is a detective. Think about that, dog. Think about that. It's going to be important later on down the line. So they get together. They're at the house. So Reggie, he asked Leon to come in the back. He needs to talk to him privately. You know, he's getting ready to give him the money and all of this and that. Lori gives him the look, and he's nervous. But he has the pistol in his back pants, right behind his back, covered up by the shirt. Reggie, in his arrogance, he thinks that Leon has no clue as to what's about to happen. So he turns his back on him and walks into the back room. And he opens up the drawer. Now Leon has been told that the gun is in the drawer. So when Reggie opens the drawer up and he reaches his hand into the drawer, Leon doesn't even wait to see what he pulls out. But he had his hand on the gun. One shot to the back of the head. Drops him like a sack of potatoes. He's gone. Laura hears the shot. She runs to the back room. Reggie's down. Blood is running from his head. He's had the pistol in his hand. He was going to do it. He was about to kill Leon, but Leon acted first. Now they see all of this cash money everywhere sitting around, so what does Leon do? He grabs 3 or 4 duffel bags full of money. Each one of these bags has hundreds of thousands of dollars in it, and he has kilos sitting all on the desk in the house. She starts to throw them in a bag, and they run out of the house, get in the car calmly, drive away. They forgot one thing. They forgot the gun that was in Reggie's hand. They forgot the gun that was in his hand. And they leave. Now, he gets away. He gets away. But like all things, somebody's always watching. Somebody's always watching, especially when you hear gunshots. Even though this neighborhood was a nice neighborhood, you know, and people go about their business, and it's a little distance between neighbors and all this and that, right? People are still nosy when they hear gunshots. There's something about gunshots that make people look out the window as opposed to get under the bed. They look out the window, they see the car driving away. They see this man in the car and they see a woman, they're driving away. Oh my God, they get the license plate. It's not going to be good. Within 2 days, they had Leon in custody. Lori was being questioned because the gun that was found in Reggie's hands belonged to her husband. Now they're wondering how he ended up with the gun. The bullet that had been taken out of his skull, Reggie's skull, they ran ballistics on it. Guess what? It matched another weapon that belonged to Laura's husband, but they hadn't recovered the weapon yet. Right? Listen to me now, y'all. This is going to get thick. So what happens? Laura is in the back and she breaks down because they bring her husband in. Now they know that she's had a drug problem for the last couple of years. They know that she's been sneaking out having these relationships for drugs with these drug dealers. They just didn't know how deep it was. But now they want to protect her because the police officer's job is in jeopardy. Is he involved some type of way? Is he getting money on the side with his wife? Or is this just about her trying to help some people that she's falling in love with on the side? They don't know. They have no clue. But what they do know is that Leon is in jail. And he's being charged with first-degree murder. And he doesn't say a word. That's just how he's built. Brian comes to see him. And Leon and Brian, not knowing how jail is, they're afraid to talk. So Leon is not telling him anything. He wants to tell him, but he's afraid to tell him because he thinks that they're recording the conversations. He doesn't know. He's afraid. Laura is still out on bond, so he gives Brian Laura's number and tells him to call her. When he calls her, she says, "I can't talk. I'll meet you somewhere." She meets him and she gives him the full rundown. Brian has no clue as to what's going on and he doesn't know what to do now. So what does he do? He makes sure that everything is legally wrapped up tight with him and Leon as far as the two shops. Anything else, it doesn't matter. He makes sure that the separate books that they were keeping that makes everything look good is the books that they have on deck, because he's not sure what's going to happen. So the lawyer goes to see Reggie. The lawyer goes to see Leon and tells Leon that the state is going to try to hang him. This man has never been in any trouble. Graduated high school, graduated college, and started 2 businesses that are running very successfully. They have no idea that he's been laundering money through his shop, but he's up for murder in another county. And they want him because they think it was a drug-related issue. Leon, not having been in trouble ever in his life, says that they can't prove a thing. They don't have a weapon. They don't have a weapon. They have his license plate, him driving away in the car with Lori. But here we go, y'all. This is where it gets thick. When you have another person that's involved in a crime with you, let me tell you something. Watch yourself. You don't know how this thing is going to play out, but I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to let you know how this plays out in the next episode. So you're going to have to stick around and check out episode 5. You know what I'm saying? A Fool by the Game, right? This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.